I'm just trying to understand how this, the process of how this would actually work. So I'm going to run through a scenario, if that's okay. So if I get a DUI on a Saturday before the election, and I'm in jail, what's exactly the process?
So are you asking how you would be able to vote if you are being detained?
That is correct.
Well, if it was a typical election cycle, then you would have the opportunity to, if you are in a facility in a county that has less than 3 million, a population of less than 3 million, then you can either request a vote by mail application, or you could, or they would offer it to you. You would fill out the application, it would go into the local election authority, and then you would have the opportunity to get a ballot from there, assuming you're still at that jail.
Okay, I guess my question more specifically is if it's after the vote by mail deadline. So I'm imprisoned, not imprisoned, I'm in jail after a DUI Saturday night. The election's the Tuesday, a couple days later. What happens?
I'm sorry, Representative, may you please repeat the beginning portion of your hypothetical?
It's a Saturday before an election. I have a DUI. I get put into jail. The election is the following Tuesday. When I read your bill, to me it seemed like they bring you a ballot. Is that correct?
Yes, but of course a ballot requires an application. So that might not be a period of time that would allow, but if you are eligible, you should have the opportunity to get a ballot. And if they can facilitate doing that, which is what we require. But I think the other piece that I want to emphasize about this bill, as I indicated in the previous debate, it is up to the local election authority and the sheriff and the other stakeholders to come up with the process that works best for that locality. So I'm responding to your hypothetical because it's your question, but really it will depend on the jurisdiction and whatever they decide is most acceptable for that jurisdiction.
Okay, so there's scenarios that if I'm in that scenario, it allows the election authority to say, no, I'm not going to accommodate your voting ability. Is that correct? That's what I'm hearing you say.
What I'm saying is that each locality will have to come up with a process. And as part of that process, that the sheriff, the local election authority will come up with a process that works best. So I know that it's a hypothetical, but I can't speak to what each jurisdiction will do. The overall goal of the legislation is to allow people the opportunity who are eligible to vote to be able to do so.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the bill.
Do the bill.
The goal of the bill is to allow people who are eligible the opportunity to vote. I'm thinking of some scenarios in my head. My dad worked in a steel mill as a roll turner. I worked there a little bit. Happens to be election day. He works 7-3. Roll goes down, stops the whole steel mill. If he doesn't work overtime, that steel mill closes. He doesn't have the opportunity to vote. Or how about this scenario? It's the Saturday before the election. I get a call that my mother had a stroke in Florida. I get on a plane. What accommodations are we making for that individual to have the right to vote? Or how about in this situation? The person that got the DUI and was put into jail hit 4 people in a car that are now in a hospital. What accommodations are we making for those people to vote? There are plenty of circumstances where it's difficult for people to get to the voting booth. A single mom who gets a call from the babysitter, your son's sick, you have to come home, and she can't get to the polling booth. People who are hospitalized because of people that are in jail. So in that scenario, if somebody gets a DUI on a Saturday night and they put 4 people in the hospital, there's 1 person out of those 5 that are going to vote, and that is the one that got the DUI. The 4 people in the hospital, we're making no accommodations for them. I guess I understand where we're going with this, but if somebody finds themselves in jail, that's not the top of my priority list of who I'm trying to give the constitutional right to vote to. There are plenty of people There are plenty of people who have difficult circumstances come upon them. I think we should start there first. I think the taxpayers of this state would like us to start there first. Thank you.
Further discussion?